Hello, I'm Dr. Childress. Welcome to my walk through the 8 symptoms of parental alienation syndrome. um, Thanks for hanging with me. There's no need for you to go. I had to go. You don't have to if you don't want to. We're up to symptom 6. Okay, we just left the scary world of if you love your parent, you're pathological. Symptom 6. The child shows a lack of guilt in their treatment of the targeted parent. You're pretty consistent. Model's pretty consistent. So we want the child. So let's just take it away from parental alienation syndrome for a second. We're thinking diagnostic indicators. So when I'm working over with kids, oppositional defiant kids, and just school, getting problems at school, having academic failures, parents are still married, but maybe there's some conflict in the marriage or something, but they're just getting in trouble at school, oppositional defiant kinds of stuff there. So they may come home and be a little smart mouth to mom, and mom's trying to get them to do their homework. I don't want to do my homework, and we got all sorts of homework kind of problems going on in the family. What you're saying is we want that child to show guilt about how they treat the parent. In that other family, not the alienation, but in that other family. We want children to feel guilty for how they treat the parent. Okay, that's an interesting view of families and parent-child relationships. I would typically not want the child to feel guilty about how. It's called a role reversal relationship. Okay, I want the child's going to act out. The child's going to have regulation problems. The child's going to do what the child does, and I need the parent to come in and respond in an attuned and responsive way. I don't need the child feeling guilt. That's a role reversal. Now I got the child taking care of the parent. So that's a problem thing you're suggesting there. That we want the child to show guilt. And if the child doesn't show guilt, that's a symptom of pathology. Over with my oppositional defiant kids and my ADHD kids, and the absence of guilt isn't it. You know what I think you're talking about here? Guilt is a moral suasion, is a moral emotion. Okay, so we have guilt, shame, and embarrassment. Those are your 3 moral emotions: guilt, shame, and embarrassment. And what you're kind of saying is you want to activate the child's sort of moral sense. That's called moral suasion. I refer you over to Dan Stern on that. So the idea of moral suasion, it's part of the intersubjectivity, and it's the way we socially relate to each other. Guilt, shame, and embarrassment. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're talking about when you go guilt kind of thing in working family relationships. Moral suasion. We don't do things because it's not the right thing to do. Okay, there's a morality to how we operate in the world. And the child shows an absence of morality. Okay, I can kind of go that symptom. Child shows an absence. That would be like bad parenting, creating some sort of distorted value system in the child. So lack of guilt is what you're kind of going on there. But you know what? Actually, that lack of guilt is a lack of empathy. It's kind of really close, okay? And I'm wondering if what you're picking up on is the absence of empathy with the child. So you're not actually saying the child should feel guilty. It's not a healthy thing in the families for a child getting taken care of the parent, and I'm sorry, I hurt you, Mom. Oh, I'll never hurt you again. We don't want that kind of thing in a normal family. But maybe what you're picking up on is the absence of empathy. Because the absence of empathy, research has indicated, that's linked to the capacity for human cruelty. So if the child has an absence of empathy and they're cruel, that would be that campaign of denigration you're talking about. The child's just cruel. And you're trying to define the child's cruelty. So it's a campaign of denigration for weak and frivolous reasons, and there's a lack of ambivalence. It's very hard. It's got that splitting demonization quality to it, that splitting, and yeah, okay. absence of empathy that undergirds it. And if you've got borderline, you're talking narcissist, absence of empathy. Yeah, that's right there. Borderline fuses over, narcissist has none. So this symptom is an absence of empathy. Kind of weird when it gets a little uncomfortable when you start going guilt in the guilt domain. Okay. Dare I ask, how are you operationalizing the absence of guilt? There is none. Yeah. Okay. So everybody's sort of, at this point in time, we're up to what, symptom 6, and pretty much any clinician is allowed to just kind of make up whether or not they think this is present or absent. Roughly, we got like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Okay, so if you want to say parental alienation there, you just kind of say it's there, and if you don't want to say it's there, you kind of say it's not there. Okay, because there's no criteria, no definitions for any of this, and the symptoms are just bizarre. You love your parent? Your parent's awful. No, they're not. They're a good parent. You're symptomatic, kid. Okay. Symptom 7. Let's start finishing this out.